Case of the missing little girl, Amaya Robertson. It's been a week. Last Saturday is when that was. We were notified of a missing person. I want you to know that we're here today because we're frustrated and quite frankly angry because of misinformation and lack of information and lack of cooperation from those most closely involved. This is an 8-month-old child, and I think all of us would agree somebody would know the whereabouts. And the detective, who you'll hear from here pretty soon, asked for this. So this is not about just giving the media information. This is a need that we have, and that's why we're here. Let me give you a little bit of the backstory, and then we'll let Detective Burkhart kind of explain some of the details, and then we'll answer any questions. If you remember last Saturday on the 16th, our missing persons was notified of a missing girl, 8 months old, Amaya Robertson. That date is significant, and you'll know why when you listen to the detectives. So last Saturday we were notified. Missing persons, because of their expertise and experience, figured out quickly through their investigation that this was a little different than most missing persons of a small child. They enlisted the help of our homicide investigators. So we're telling you now that this is a homicide investigation, but it has been all week since early on because things just didn't add up. I think it's significant that that occurred quickly because it gives you an idea of some of the frustrations that we've had in this case. On the 19th, we let you all know because we wanted to enlist the help of the community because we just didn't have that much information. Also on the 19th, if you remember, there was a silver alert that was done. We didn't have enough information to do an amber alert, but a silver alert was done. Also on the 19th, the search warrant was served at a residence in order to gain physical evidence, in hopes of gaining physical evidence, and also doing some additional interviews to figure out what happened to Amaya. On the 20th, we got a tip that at McCarty and White River, there were some child belongings that may or may not have belonged to Amaya. We went out there and did a search. We enlisted the help. There were some items real close to the water. We enlisted the help of IFD, and we collected some items from there, and we'll let Detective Burkhart kind of talk about what that did or didn't do in this investigation. The 21st, we expanded that search a little bit and went a little bit downstream. There was no additional information, but it was just to be thorough. On the 22nd, there were a group of community members, unsolicited from us, that also went out and helped. I want to thank them. I want to thank all of you. I also want to thank the number of detectives that have been working day and night on this case and all those tips that have come in. I'd like to be mindful that those tips should not be conjecture of what we are doing or should be doing or what people think we should be doing, because that interferes with our investigation. But if you have any information at all, please provide that to us. Up here with me is Lieutenant Bruce Smith, along with Detective Jeannie Burkhart and our Major Turner from Investigations. So right now I'd like to introduce Jeannie Burkhart.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I'm going to give a brief statement, touch on a couple of things that the Chief spoke about, and then Lieutenant Smith will answer any questions you may have. I'm going to just start out by saying on March 9th, at approximately 1:15 p.m., Amaya Robertson was last seen alive and well with Robert Lyons in the 200 block of South Holmes. Robert Lyons was driving a 1996 Isuzu Rodeo, maroon in color. It is in poor condition. Robert Lyons stayed on the southwest side of Indianapolis until 10 o'clock p.m. when he returned back to the mother, Amber Robertson, alone without Amaya. Amber gave permission for Amaya to stay with the babysitter until the following morning. The babysitter and the other witnesses saw Robert leave her house at 1:15 with Amaya. Robert has told family, friends, and myself where Amaya should be alive and okay. All of these locations and homes were checked. with full cooperation from residents. Some places she was said to be by Robert do not exist. Since March 10th, Robert Lyons has taunted Amber Robinson about Amaya's whereabouts. I'm asking the public to come forward if they saw Robert or Amaya on March 9th or any day thereafter. On March 9th, he was in the area of Rockville Road and Mickley Avenue for an extended period of time. So if you live in that area, I would ask that you try to remember if you saw anything suspicious, if you saw Robert or Amaya or this truck. Quickly, I'd like to say as far as the location site on McCarty and Tip Street, the items that were found on the bank have been identified as belonging to Amaya. So I will pass it on to Lieutenant Smith.
Questions?
I guess the mother told us that the items that were located involved in clothing and a car seat. Is that accurate?
Just for the integrity investigation, I don't think we'll talk specifically about what items we did find, but we have confirmed that some of the items did belong to Amaya or Amaya's family.
And it seems to reason that you guys suspect Robert is doing something wrong in this case. But are you guys speaking directly to him in this? Is that why you guys called this today, or are you hoping to soften his heart a little bit? What do you
Well, we certainly are speaking to anybody who would have information, and if this process here would bring him forward with accurate information as to what happened with Amaya, that would be great. But this is really for anybody who has information that has not come forward yet.
You know where Robert Lyons is now?
No.
When's the last time you saw him or talked to him?
I'm not real sure. I know that he was released on a separate, unrelated charge about 3 or 4 days ago. So,
Lieutenant, put this into context. She went missing or was last seen alive and well on March 9th. Wasn't reported missing until a week later. Is that concerning in this?
that's very concerning, and I think that has led to some of the difficulties that we have had in tracking down exactly what happened.
You mentioned your frustration with the family. I know you spoke about Robert a lot. So is the mother, has she been in contact with Robert? Has she told you all anything?
Well, I don't know if we specifically said the family that we were frustrated with. I think we're just frustrated with those people that may have had some information, and early on, some of that information that we were given was misleading. There are certainly people that right away were providing good information, and there's some that weren't.
Is that just Robert, or are there other people specifically that you guys have a feeling aren't telling you guys more than they know?
I guess that's the big mystery here is what we don't know, and there are people that we've taken statements from that we've been able to verify the things that they've said, and certainly there are things that are unverified. So as far as who those specific people are, they know who they are, and we ask that they come forward, or anyone else that may have information come forward.
Robert officially a person of interest?
He is certainly a suspect in her disappearance.
How do charges like that get filed? I mean, if someone loses an infant child, you've spoken with them, are there criminal charges that he faces if the child is found? Is that why he's not been arrested yet, or there have been no arrests leading to this? I'm just curious about that.
Well, so we've, part of what, besides just looking for and verifying facts, we've been in communication with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, who will ultimately decide what charges would be filed and who they would be filed against. At this point, her disappearance is criminal, and so the persons responsible for that would be the ones that we would look to hold accountable.
Do you have any more information on the relationship, obviously, with Robert Lyons? What else do you know about his relationship with his family other than his boyfriend?
That's the extent of it. There was a
relationship? How long have you known?
You know what? I'm not certain. It's something that I'm sure that we have. I wouldn't be able to speak to that.
Could you guys kind of provide a little bit more clarity on, I guess, the timeline in your dealings with Robert? Because my understanding was that he was arrested at some point in between the 9th and you said getting released 3 days ago. And has he not been seen at all since that time? Or?
So
When was he arrested in this case?
I believe it was the 16th or 17th, I'm sorry.
He was arrested on the 17th on a domestic-related charge based on that evidence having nothing to do with what we're talking about now. He was released. And as far as knowing his whereabouts, this investigation is ongoing, and I just do not feel comfortable talking about what I'm doing as far as with Robert Lyons. But I just wanted you to know he is a suspect, yes.
He's a suspect in a homicide investigation.
Yes.
Question for Major Turner. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation on social media with any case. How does that impact all sorts of your guys' investigations when people start rumors and things like that?
We will take any
Can you
tip.
come up with the mic for us?
Yeah, sorry. We'll take any tip. We won't overlook anything. I guess the negative aspect about that is going to be if they start spreading just rumors and innuendos. We have to investigate everything, and that takes time away from the solid leads. So we just, again, like Chief Roach stated, any leads, any information that you get, just don't spread gossip and rumor. Call our 317-262-TIPS. If you have something you would like to give us, don't spread it on social media. Call our TIPS hotline. We will deal with it directly.
Can you tell us a little bit more about this vehicle and when it was spotted over about Rockville and Mickley, and what you think was going on over there, what's in that part of town, why would somebody be driving around over there, does anybody over there? What's significant about that neighborhood in that day?
I'll just tell you what's significant. It was approximately around 1:30 p.m. until about 8:30 in the evening on March 9th that he was in that area. There's a food mart there, there are apartments there, and that's as far as I want to go with that.
What was the address where you-
It's Rockville and Mickley right there on the corner. There's a food mart and a laundromat and the apartments, the Addison apartments.
Is that an area that he frequents, he lives around over there, he knows people over there?
It's an area I know he was there on March 9th. I'm not sure what he was doing, and that's why I'm asking for help, why he was in that area.
Should I assume then that you've either got people that spotted him over there, or maybe there's surveillance video of that vehicle in that area?
I just don't, I think with the integrity of the investigation, I would rather not answer that.
Then you guys made mention of him taunting the mother. Can you kind of, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, I think that through our investigation, we've come across some information that leads us to believe he has expressed that he knew where the child was to the mother, and but never quite revealed that. So that's how we would characterize it.
And given the nature of how long it took for her to be reported, for the child to be reported missing, is the mother a suspect in any way in this investigation?
Not this time.
Do you believe Amaya is dead? And do you believe that Robert Lyons killed her?
Well, so I think that we all hope for the best, always, but I think that we can't ignore the reality of the situation. Amaya cannot take care of herself. And absent somebody else who is currently taking care of her that hasn't come forward, we are very concerned about what happened to her. So, we don't want to give up on hope, but we can't ignore the reality.
Are you satisfied with the mother's explanation about why it took her so long to report this child missing, or are there still some holes in that explanation?
No, we understand the explanation. We're just, that's part of the investigation, so we're not going to discuss it, but we understand the explanation and have evidence to support it.
Has she been fully cooperative outside of that?
She has been cooperative.
People are going to watch this and want to find Robert. Should they be looking for a vehicle or anything like that, or what's the best way that the community can help with this?
So we're not looking for Robert currently. We're not actively seeking him. What we would like people to do is, based on the information we gave them and the things we know and where he was on that day and what his vehicle looks like, if they have any recall of seeing him or if they know him, and they can help us determine where he was during those times and what was going on, and if Amaya was with him, if Amaya wasn't. Those are the kind of things that we're looking for help on. As far as where he is right now, at this time, we are not seeking him.
When people watching live on our website now reiterate that vehicle, the make and model of that vehicle, and those times, we're getting real quickly.
is a 1996 maroon Isuzu Rodeo in poor condition, and we're looking at, in the area of Rockville and Mickley, to be specific, around 1:30 p.m. up until 8:30 p.m. However, he was on the southwest side of town most of that afternoon, so basically the southwest side of town in Indianapolis.
That's March 9th.
Yes, sir.
Chief, obviously this has been a difficult investigation. Can you talk about how frustrating this has been for the department and the detectives on the case?
I mean, it's an 8-month-old, right? And it's very clear that she can't protect herself, and there's absolutely no information that anybody is. And so it's very frustrating. I don't think we're any different than members of the public who may be watching this and that are frustrated. It's devastating, and it will live with this detective for the rest of her life. And so we want answers. We hope that the best comes out of this, but know that the detectives are working day in, day out, and they'll continue to do that until we bring some resolution to this.
Is the FBI still involved?
Yes, they are. They're still involved.
And have you guys put a number to the amount of tips that you've received?
You know, I asked that before we came here, and they're coming in constantly, and they're actively looking at those tips now, and they have been doing that since the 17th.
And just to clarify, the FBI was already involved because you guys have a working relationship with them already with State Street Center, that it wasn't like they were called in special for this specific concern.
Sure, we're a large agency, and we have a lot of resources, but we also realize that there are other agencies within our federal partners and also local, and we call on them any additional tools that we can apply to this case and other cases, and any expertise, and quite frankly, just a different way of viewing things and looking at things. And they've been huddled up numerous times throughout this week to just have those discussions. What if this? And what do you have that might help in this case?
Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.